I found whatever they've done to it, it's made the ride, yeah, a little bit too firm for me and more harsh. So I don't enjoy jogging in this shoe whatsoever. So testing's complete and the scores are in, and this is the full review of the Adidas Adizero Boston 13. But before we get into it, and if you guys want to support the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And in the specs, so this one is a neutral road running shoe, probably targeted at those up-tempo efforts and also those longer training sessions out there on the road. Now in Australia, we'll be able to pick this one up for $260 or $160 in the US. Now a little price increase there from the last version. In the weight there, what you can see there is the weight of my shoe size, so a US 8.5, so 251 grams or 8.9 ounces. Now in the stack, we got 36 in the rear, 30 in the front, and that's going to give us a 6mm drop. Now for the scores, although this shoe has had a bit of a price increase from the previous version, I still think it represents pretty good value, especially for what you get. There's a lot of tech in here, there's some good foam, so not too bad here, 8 out of 10. And in the weight, well, I would like this shoe to be lighter. It is designed for those faster efforts. However, it's still not overly a heavy shoe. It's balanced quite well, 7.5 out of 10. And in the upper, so the material that they're using here is a engineered mesh, very similar engineered mesh to what they used on the previous version. Breathability is still excellent. Overall materials that they're using here on the upper feel really high quality, so quite impressed there. A big improvement here is what they've done around the heel collar from the previous version. So now we've got a medium amount of padding around the heel collar, finished off really nicely. Plush feeling padding there, so it feels like a memory foam. We've got a nice little amount of padding on the tongue as well, taking any laces pressure off that area. Our tongue is gusseted as well. With our lacing systems, just reinforced eyelets down each side. They've got these really thin Adizero laces that can be a little tricky to do up, but once you can sort that out, it does provide a pretty good lockdown around the midfoot. No heel slippage in the rear for me. Now in the fit, I'm going to say true to size in the length. In the width, I find it quite wide through the toe box, just like the previous version, so I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with the amount of volume in the shoe. So not too much, not too baggy, and not too shallow. Build quality, as I pretty much just mentioned, is excellent here in this model. And stepping comfort, well, it does feel a little bit firm, so it's not going to wow you in the shop when you put your foot in this shoe. Now for the scores, compared to the previous version, the upper did need to be upgraded. They fixed everything in the upper that they needed to. I'm very happy with what they've done here. It's comfortable, it looks great, it's breathable, it performs well. 8.5 out of 10. And in the outsole, so the compound that they're using on the bottom of the shoe here is primarily light traction. Now that did debut in the Adidas Adizero Adios Pro 4. However, it's a different light traction. This one feels much more like traditional rubber. It's quite thick. It's quite firm as well. So it is a little bit tappy and loud on the road. However, lots and lots of rubber coverage on the bottom here. As you can see, this one is built to go the distance. So it's going to last a long time. So how does it perform, this outsole? So this light traction, minimal signs of wear. So I do have over 100 kilometers in this shoe, and yeah, the wear is very minimal. In the grip department, obviously in the dry, excellent. In the wet, it's good as well. So hasn't lost anything from going from that Continental rubber to this light traction rubber. It's still absolutely excellent. So they do have a bit of that that Continental rubber under the big toe there, just to keep that tradition alive. So overall in the outsole here, it's very durable. It is excellent in the grip department. There's not too many complaints. However, I'd probably like it if this outsole was a little bit more segmented and maybe just not so much of it. 8.5 out of 10. And in the midsole, so dual density setup here. So they've got their brand's super foam as the top layer, and then they've got their standard EVA foam as the bottom layer. Now this Light Strike Pro that they're using in the top layer, it's definitely not the same foam that they use in the race version, so the Pro 4. So that Pro 4's Light Strike Pro foam is much softer, much more compliant than this. So this foam to me looks and feels like the one that they did use in the Pro 3, which was an amazing foam anyway. So lots of this Light Strike Pro in that top layer, and particularly under the forefoot there. So really like that. They do say that this model has got a little bit more Light Strike Pro foam in it than the previous Boston. Now our bottom layer is just that standard light strike foam. So that's that EVA foam, and it's mainly in the heel of the shoe. And that's just there to give the shoe a little bit of stability. It does create some firmness in the shoe, but it's also going to add a little bit of durability to the ride as well. Sandwiched between those two layers of foam, they've got their energy rods. So Mark 2.0 is what they've got. So these energy rods, again, they are different to what you're going to find in the race day shoe. They give the shoe some rigidity. However, this shoe's still got some flex, especially when comparing to a race shoe. So a shoe with a traditional carbon plate, or the race version of this has got those carbon energy rods. Now in the geometry department, so we definitely have a 4-foot rocker here. I'm going to say it's on the earlier stage compared to other shoes on the market, and it's quite a gentle rocker as well. So that means that this rocker is going to kick in certainly at a wide variety of paces, more so than a late, more aggressive rocker. And in the ride, well, if you watch my first impressions review with this shoe, I did find the shoe a little bit clunky at those slower paces and on the firmer side and a bit harsh through the heel. Now, has my opinion changed? Well, I will say it has softened up a little bit through the heel, but I still find it firm, and I still find it quite harsh through the heel. So I know the heel is slightly different than the previous version. Some people have reported it's more stable. I've found whatever they've done to it, it's made the ride, a little bit too firm for me and more harsh. So I don't enjoy jogging in this shoe whatsoever. Where this shoe does feel good though is when you pick up the pace a little bit and obviously start utilizing the geometry of the shoe and you start digging into the super foam, so the Light Strike Pro. So when I pick it up from easy pace into that steady pace range, that's where the shoe, the foam and the geometry start working for me. So it's got a real sweet spot for me, this shoe, and it does feel nice. So with all those things combined and how I strike the ground, it's really easy to lock into that steady pace and just set and forget. So it feels amazing. I start to dig into this Light Strike Pro foam. I get some pop, I get some bounce, and I get some responsiveness. But yeah, overall, for me, that's its real sweet spot. Can you pick up the pace in the shoe? So yeah, you can. So tempo, your threshold, race efforts, you can get there, but it doesn't feel like an overly propulsive and a fast shoe. For me, yeah, this geometry is more settled to those, just those steady paces, so a little bit slower than that tempo pace. And best use if you haven't picked it up already, so any of those runs that include that steady pace effort, I'll give this shoe the tick for. So that includes for me those long runs as well, and also those days where you've got a bit of a license on your easy day just to pick it up a little. Now, can you go faster in the shoe? Yeah, you certainly can go faster in the shoe, but for me, it just doesn't have that, it doesn't feel like a super fast shoe, it doesn't feel super propulsive, but if you don't want a fast feeling shoe on your workout day because you want to make yourself work a little harder, make yourself a little bit fitter on your workouts, then yeah, you can certainly use this one. What I don't recommend this shoe for, and that's just jogging around at easy pace. So some other options out there if you are considering this shoe. First one I'll mention is the Adidas Adizero Evo SL. So pretty similar shoe to the Boston, but it's just got pure light strike foam. So it doesn't have this really harsh heel, it doesn't have the energy rods, it's got more of a rocker and it's cheaper. So for me, I much more enjoy running in that shoe more so than this shoe. Next one I'll mention is a Puma Deviate Nitro 3. So same sort of midsole setup. A pretty familiar ride to this one as well. So I do find that shoe, again, it's got a bit of a more of a stable, firmer type heel, and they've got the really fun, enjoyable foam through the front. But that's just Puma's version of this shoe. Next one I'll mention, if you want a long run shoe that can handle those up-tempo workouts, I have to mention the king of the long run, and that is the Asics Superblast 2. A lot more expensive than this shoe, but you certainly get your money's worth out of that shoe. So the Boston 13 has just missed out on cracking into the 40s. So it is a shoe that represents excellent value. It's a comfortable shoe, it looks great. It's got lots of tech squeezed into the shoe. It's gonna agree with a lot of runners, however, it just doesn't work for me. So the heel in this shoe is just too firm and it's just too harsh for the way I run. And certainly with the runs that this shoe is targeted as, I think there's much better options out there on the market. So saying that, this one is definitely not a buy for me. It is consider other options. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Any questions you've got regarding the Boston 13, how it compares to anything else, just ask me in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.